Hello and welcome to The Relax. It's Retirement Podcast with your host, Josh Leonard, where we talk about transitioning into retirement with intent. I'm Wendy McConnell, along with Pete Belcastro. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Wendy. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm feeling very festive. I'm not really sure what it is that's getting me in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, no clue. Pete, are you
No.
are you feeling a little festive today?
I am. Yeah, it must be. There's bells ringing in the air.
Yeah. Let's light up the leg lamp.
There you go.
There you go.
Wow.
Yes. I've never seen that sweater before. It's awesome.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. You know, it's a little fragile, but
That's
Yeah.
right.
And it,
It's
and
a
it,
major award. Yes.
it lights you up.
it does. It does. Um, but yeah, I pulled this out because over the weekend, Wendy, we had our ugly sweater party, which is sort of our final client event we do for the year. It's always such a great time to, have a little bit of extra time with clients, celebrate the holidays, all the great things that happen throughout the year. So I figured I'd dig it out. And, today we're going to talk about the gift of giving. So how to make a difference in retirement during the holidays. So
All right.
geared, specifically to those retirement years and how you can still give, not only financially, but in other ways as well.
Yep. And I think just the way that Josh's shirt lights up our podcast here. Whenever you give to people, it's a way that we light up the world. So, I think it's quite appropriate.
I like it, Pete. I like it. So let's get into it. What are we going to focus on first, guys? Just give everybody all of your money, right?
No, first we're just going to talk about the joy of giving.
Oh, okay.
I think we talk to clients a lot about volunteering a lot, but I think if you are giving something thoughtful, personal, meaningful to someone, you get such a reward, although you're separating with something. So, in the spirit of the holiday season, it's important to just realize that joy that you get from, sharing with others.
Yeah, I'm actually one of the reasons that I like Christmas so much is because I love to give presents. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to get them more, but I do enjoy the giving because I like to see the expression on their face, especially if it's something like I know they're it's just going to wow them. I'm just like, I have a hard time waiting until Christmas to gift the people in my life.
That's it. That anticipation. That it's important, and I think that we can all agree, and I think it's one of those tales as old of time type of deal that giving is better than receiving. I know you might think it feels better, Wendy, but once you get into that spirit of thing this time of year, I really do think that it's one thing that makes this time of year special.
Yeah, certainly so. And I think, in terms of giving gifts to others, I always laugh. I remember as a kid opening Christmas presents. My dad's side of the family, there's 6 kids. So there was a period where there was like a lot of kids and a lot of people opening gifts. And, we were trained to make sure that you're thankful and smile. So I remember opening a box.
You were taught, not trained.
It was trained. It was trained. Oh, it's a sweater.
Yeah.
Throw it over your head and move on to the next one, right? I think that's it. I think for retirees, though, in this joyful giving position, you have some different resources. Hopefully, you're in a reasonable financial position, but maybe even more likely, you have a little bit more time. So it's not only the financial spend, but maybe you just help people out a little bit. That giving of time is certainly important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely see that value with just you spend some time with some people. I think just a personal story of mine for giving in the morning. We would always growing up, my parents would always get us it was a goat that they would get for a village in Africa, and we would get a letter every year that said, this year you've donated a goat, and I think that was one thing that it was, you're growing up and you're like, gosh, I want the gift. Why is somebody else getting this? And then as kind of the years went on, we kind of looked forward to say, oh, you got a llama, somebody gave them a chicken, somebody got a pig. So, it's something that we did look forward to, and now we still get those notes. As far as, whenever, sometimes whenever you get something, it could be, an opportunity to give as well. And I think that charities are one place to actually, is a great place to give.
Yeah, I think in our ugly sweater party, we kind of partnered with a charity that a client sits on the board called Christopher's Kitchen, and we'll link their website in the notes. But it is a very personal thing to me. My oldest son was in the NICU when he was born around the holidays, and we kind of spent the tail end and beginning of the following year going back and forth to the hospital. And while you're in the hospital, you want to be there with your kid, and eating out is expensive. You really don't even want to leave to go to a restaurant. So food for the parents is important. So Christopher's Kitchen supplies a food pantry in Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, so parents can make some mac and cheese or grab a snack. So it makes it just a little bit easier for those families that are there with their children. So we partnered with them and did a food drive to help stock up those goods. And to me, that's super rewarding, right? Carol, the client that's on the board, she had a whole car full of food by the time she left our ugly sweater event. So we had this great celebration together as a team and with our clients and friends of Leonard Advisory Group. But at the same time, we were also able to do something good for families in our community.
Yeah, we do see a need that, that you can actually physically, stop in, go to the store, pick out some goods that people need, and you could take it and deliver it to these places. It's really neat. And of course, that's one piece of the puzzle is there's these institutions that need a lot of resources, not only time with volunteers, but they need products to give people, especially when we're talking about food banks. But cash is king. It's one of the most important things, especially with the charity, that they need.
Yep. So I think that's another important thing around the holidays. Is great. Maybe I give some time, but I'm also looking to give money. What are some strategies around that? So, the first one we thought of in preparing for the show that we have never talked about here, Wendy, is QCDs or qualified charitable distributions.
I think I have heard you speak about
Yeah. Wendy, quiz. This is the second time I've done this quiz, too.
Oh,
What
no.
is a QCD?
that. A qualified charitable distribution.
That's correct. Yeah. So anyways, I'll take it back, Wendy.
It helps
I
that
won't
you
put you on the spot too
just
much.
said it, so thanks.
But a QCD enables you to take money after the age of 70 and a half direct from your IRA straight to the charity. It's a non-taxable event. If you are subject to RMDs, it helps satisfy that RMD as well. So, we work with clients, whether it's giving to the church or local charities, to just coordinate that. It's easier. It helps you reduce your taxes. You can set it up at different frequencies depending on the amount. But if you're thinking of making a donation before the end of a year, the QCD might be a great way to do it without increasing your taxes. Now, of course, you have to be 70 and a half or older. So if a QCD doesn't work, we might want to look at another strategy there as well. Another one that we had thrown on the list was a donor-advised fund. Donor-advised fund, we can donate a lump sum of money into a fund that is holding those charitable assets that we can distribute at a later date. So this one, I would say, fits the bill a little bit more if you had a big income year and you want to donate some of that money, but maybe you're still prepping for the holidays and you have a lot of obligations and you don't have the proper amount of time to research and think through where you want to donate that money. So the donor advised fund allows you to get the tax deduction this year, even if you disperse the money down the line.
I think that's the thing with that tax deduction is these are really ways that you can really what we're trying to do is give more money to the charities, right? before, whenever the standard deduction was well below what it is now, close to $2,000 compared to, $15,000 or 30 grand when you're talking about married couples. So this is a way that people can still do the giving that they've been doing, but still get that benefit from the tax side, that the most money that is going to these charities. So I think that's just an important note that these rules are always changing, and these are the ways that are available to us all, so that the charities can benefit the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pete, that's a great point. I mean, just driving it home with a QCD, you might be in a 22% tax bracket. If you're looking to take out a little bit more money to give to charity by the end of the year, you'd have to give 22 cents on the dollar to Uncle Sam. If you go direct to the charity via a QCD rather than taking the money out, putting it in your bank account and writing a check, you're getting 22 more cents on the dollar to the charity rather than Uncle Sam. It's just way more efficient.
Yeah, it's a way to increase your gift, right?
Absolutely. And it's intentionally set up that way. The federal government says, hey, we're not going to make you pay taxes if you're being charitable, right? We're incentivizing behavior.
Yep, and there's also maybe some assets that you have that could cost you a lot of taxes, and there's actually a way that you can give those to charities without having to pay the tax on those.
Yep, absolutely. So we can do stock gifting. So you could say, hey, I have this highly appreciated stock. Maybe you bought Amazon 15 years ago, and now you have such a huge gain on it. You're kind of afraid to sell it because you don't want to pay that 15 or 20% capital gains if you're in those capital gains tax brackets. So you could gift that stock, that Amazon in this scenario, directly to the charity. This can also work as a family gifting strategy. So it doesn't have to be a charity if you have a maybe young adult child that you help financially, or maybe you're at a later stage of retirement and you're just trying to start moving some assets to the next generation. You could go ahead and gift that stock. If the recipient chooses to sell it, they would pay the capital gains. So if they're in a lower tax bracket than you, that might be a more efficient decision. We have one client that's getting married, or their son is getting married next year, and we have established this strategy because the son is just finishing school, starting out their career. They're in a way lower tax bracket than mom and dad. So
that works out.
Yep. If you are thinking of charitable giving but not quite sure the best way to do it, make sure to reach out to your financial advisor sooner than later. Year-end deadlines are going to be on us pretty quickly here. But if you work with us at the Leonard Advisory Group and for some reason we haven't already talked through these strategies, feel free to give us a call. We'll have a link in the show notes to schedule a 15-minute call for anyone that's interested. I think another big topic to talk about when talking about the holidays is smart holiday budgeting. So now we'll be a bit of a Grinch and tell you can't spend everything.
This is when you pull out the credit card and then you spend the rest of the year paying it down.
Yeah, it's free money.
No, Wendy, no.
He loves to just make fun of me on that.
You might take out the credit card and earn points for your next vacation, but pay it off.
There you go.
Pay it off in 30 days.
Otherwise,
you shouldn't be spending the money.
But I have very expensive taste, and you know what? I'm worth it.
I'm not going to question your worth at all, Wendy, but
good.
We should have financial constraints. And you know what? I think one of the big things that we always think about is how can we have more meaningful gifts that aren't necessarily just expensive gifts? I think it's a Saturday Night Live skit where the husband buys the wife like a car, which you always see these commercials for. I've always been like, who buys someone a car unannounced? Like, that's a pretty bold move.
Yes,
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm too broke for that, but I don't know. That doesn't happen in my household. So I saw this skit. I believe it was an SNL skit. And it was like the husband bought, the wife a Lexus. And she's like, what the? What's wrong with you? We can't afford that.
What are you
Why
doing?
do you go out and buy that, right? So,
Commercials told me to.
it's funny, but right in if that was a real situation, the husband's heart was there, just the financial backing wasn't, and it's not a logical decision. So with young kids, we always have the kids make cards, right? That saves $5 right off the bat. If it's my mom's birthday and the kids handwrite a card, that saves me like $5. And you know what? It means a lot more to my mom that it was a handwritten card or hand-drawn card from my kids
And
that it was
this is how
purposed.
This is how you can tell Pete that he hasn't bought cards in a while, because they're like $8 now.
Okay.
Yeah, right. That's right. You can see I didn't correct him, Wendy. I make my own cards. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what's great for cards? The dollar store.
Is it $1.25 though?
No, they still have a section where it's 2 for $1, and that has not gone up to $1.25. So.
Oh gosh,
Okay,
you haven't.
well,
See, I pick one picture of the person. I throw a couple things into Chat GTP, and it pumps out a great card for me. Usually pretty hilarious too.
So good.
It's great.
I won't tell your wife, Pete. I won't tell your wife.
So, yeah. Oh, she knows. I brag about it.
But yeah, being creative with the gifts can be helpful. Also, a shared experience sometimes is better. Giving a gift of maybe going to a museum, or my boys just went last Friday to go see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a musical with my parents, and that was a gift that they received from them. That's much more meaningful than another plastic toy. That's a memory that they have on both sides, both for my parents and the kids. So think about those experiences maybe as an alternative there. My dad made us a gift. We have a mantle at home, and he kind of took this slab of wood and finished it all up to look nice, to put a new mantelpiece on our fireplace. That's a fantastic gift. It cost him time, maybe a little bit of polyurethane, but the overall cost was not much. But it's a handmade gift that certainly is quite meaningful to us.
Nice. Yeah, we actually do. We have a handmade gift rule with my husband's family, and they're pretty. They do different things every year. I do the same thing every year. I make a bunch of Chex Mix. I make a bunch of peppermint fudge, stuff like that, and they want more and more of it every year. So I figure I'm good. So that's what I continue to contribute. But yeah, they're like, last year my sister-in-law got us a pre-made old-fashioned kit for old-fashioned drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right.
Saves you the time, yeah. Who wants to go gather up all those pesky ingredients? Yeah.
That's right. It's all done.
Yes, I went pretty heavy in craft cocktails for a while there, Wendy. I know we had talked about that. There is freezer old fashions, so that is a great gift idea. You can pre-make it like in a bottle. You pour out, or drink, just pour it out, some of the bourbon or whatever base you're using, and then mix in there, and you can just kind of keep it in the freezer. And then, if a friend stops over, or I don't know, you're celebrating something, it's ready to go. You don't have to mix it up, which is a similar idea. That could be a great small gift idea.
Okay. But
Absolutely.
why do I need to have it in the freezer? Because I don't.
Freezer old fashioned, the idea is that it's already chilled, so you don't necessarily need like the big ice cube. In mixology, there is some like temperature controls that you should be doing.
No, I even got really cool big ice molds. No, I want the cube. Right.
I'm with you. I have those in my freezer. I got cubes. I got balls. I got a couple different versions. Yeah.
Rose shaped.
Octagons, every shape. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Sorry, I digress.
But I think that's those budget friendly ideas for those gifts. I think that's one important thing that we talk about. That hey, if you could save money at any point, it does help relieve stress, especially around the holidays. So we do believe that gift has a compounding effect, and usually that, like we said, that those gifts sometimes are actions that actually maybe they turned into more of traditions than around the holidays.
Yeah, and I think creating family traditions was another thing we had on the list for today's show. That's super important. Those holiday traditions can sometimes become more important than the normal meal that we all do. Pete had mentioned the donation of an animal in Africa. It sticks with you. I think one for us on the other end, we always do a hike around the holidays. So if it's like an afternoon hike before the big meal or the next morning, and that's something that I always look forward to. I like being outside. When you're eating a lot of food too, it's kind of nice to get a little bit of exercise.
Yes.
Around there too. But those are expectations that everyone builds around the holiday over time. And I think it's a good time to talk. I know other families will do things like go to a movie or other things that are pretty low stress.
Low key, low expense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like going to the beach, especially in the winter. Do like a beach hike. That's been a thing we've done, whether in Cleveland over the winter holidays, or here in St. Joseph. That crunchy sand, a little bit of ice. Just bundle up. You'll be fine. It's not that cold, guys.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome.
If you say so. Another one is giving back through volunteering. So we had kind of nudged at that. There's a lot of people in need. As much as family might be a challenge at time, it's a blessing to have people to celebrate the holidays with. And not everyone does. Of course, there's people in pretty rough positions. So if you have time to volunteer at a soup kitchen or something to make sure that everyone gets a hot meal through the holidays, that, of course, is also a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Yeah, that's usually something that we do encourage throughout the year. And especially if you do have this as part of your, your retirement plan, get through the holidays, you get to the holidays, and it does, like we said, the need is a lot greater, during this time of the year. So, you'll be well prepared, and you'll be, right there. We know some people that pack meals, around the holidays. Some people that pack baskets. We know some people that pack, do toy drives. So all these things, are usually hard work throughout the year. So it's a great way to give back, and then, like we talked about, adds to your own holiday spirit.
Absolutely. We have to end on a financial note, though, so we'll toss a couple year-end financial moves, a couple things just to check off the list here. Before you get all filled up on your holiday meals. So make sure that you're being tax efficient. One of the things that we do a lot this time of the year is look at the tax brackets, especially for our clients in retirement. If they have some space, maybe in that 12% tax bracket before they jump up to the 22, look at doing a Roth conversion. So moving some of that IRA money over to a Roth IRA, or doing a QCD like we talked about. Trying to get that in this year. By doing a QCD before the end of the year this year, they're going to reduce the amount they need to take out in an RMD next year. So it's a dually beneficial strategy.
Yeah, that's that required minimum distribution that people have to take out. So it's you have to do that before the end of the year. So there's some things that we can do to reduce our tax implications throughout the throughout the year, but sometimes we can do things up until tax filing, usually around April 15th, for the previous year. So what Josh is talking about is things that we need to do before December 31st.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So any last minute withdrawals, filling up the tax bracket, check on your beneficiaries again. This is something we did in our fall review cycle with clients, just running through on any of your financial accounts, make sure that they're in line. It's a good thing to clean up near the end of the year, knowing starting in January, everything's in good shape. You know where you stand there. And in general, just prep for 2025. If you know next year is going to be a big year, you have a few big vacations coming out, ask yourself, does it make sense to take some of that money out before the year end and then some more at the beginning of the year? So just planning out for the year, make sure to take advantage of your current tax brackets or any tax breaks that you might potentially get there. Well, Pete and Wendy, what a great show. What a great way to embrace the joys of the holiday by talking about some ways that we can help others and make the most of our time with our families here. Thank you both for joining. I hope you both and all of our listeners have a wonderful holiday season. In our next episode, we're going to talk about goal setting for the new year. I'm going to put Wendy and Pete on the spot a little bit, as well as myself, to talk about our goals that we discussed for this year, and then look to project into the future. Wendy, no sour faces on this one. For those of you listening to the show today, if you're concerned about retirement and not sure where you stand, be sure to check out the show notes where you can download our 7 big retirement mistakes checklist so you make sure you don't run into those mistakes when you transition into retirement. Until next time, remember to retire with intent so you can live your golden years with the happiness and excitement you deserve. Happy holidays, everyone.